On the night of June 27, 2012, two 17-year-old Southside gang members from Ventura, California, each members of the Cabrillo Village gang, were on the hunt for revenge. Gilbert Villanueva and Justin Patino were at Satacoy Park looking for rivals. They would soon approach 14-year-old Joshua Burciaga, who was walking with girls and unarmed. However, it didn't matter. Gilbert Villanueva and Justin Patino would begin shooting. At the end, they would stand over Joshua Burciaga as he was pleading for his life and put the final shots into his head.
The organizations are sounding the alarm after recent violent crimes involving teens across our region in recent weeks. They say they are fed up with young people being both victims and perpetrators of these violent acts.
There's something more than just being 6 feet under. There's something more than just ending life at your senior year.
Thanks so much for joining us at 10. I'm Ty Steele.
And I'm Andrea Flores. This comes as two teens were arrested in connection to the shooting death of a 19-year-old on the 4th of July. KCRA 3's Orko Manna shares what youth advocates say needs to happen to make a difference.
Somebody lost their life. In this case, maybe it was a gang associate. Next time, is it someone that you know?
Tonight, a warning and a wake-up call from the Sacramento County Sheriff's Office. Investigators say a shooting that killed a 19-year-old and hurt another person at an apartment complex on the 4th of July is the result of a gun deal gone wrong.
This kind of stuff is happening all the time.
The Sheriff's Office arrested two teens, a 17-year-old accused of shooting the two victims and a 15-year-old who was also involved. Both suspects are confirmed gang members and both victims have ties to street gangs.
A lot of this is preventable. A lot of this goes back to something that we've been preaching for a long time about gang violence, about the guns that are on the street.
Over the past few weeks, there have been several violent crimes in our region that have impacted kids and teens, and that's concerning for community organizations that are trying to make a difference. On July 10th, a 16-year-old boy was hurt in a North Sacramento shooting, which the Sheriff's Office says was between two groups of teens between the ages of 14 and 17. On July 5th, the Stanislaus County Sheriff's Office says an 18-year-old man died in a shooting near Keys. A 10-year-old girl was shot on July 1st near an apartment complex in South Natomas. Sacramento County officials say a 17-year-old died on June 24th in an apparent gang-related shooting near Vintage Park. And police say one man was killed and one juvenile was hurt in a shooting in Tracy on June 23rd.
Unfortunately, this seems to be an eerie pattern.
Tyler McClure is the founder of Gifted Misfits, a mentoring organization helping young adults and children as young as 5. He says the recent violence across the area is concerning.
These things just fall under our nose so easily, and then we're standing at somebody's vigil or funeral crying tears.
McClure says Gifted Misfits helps keep kids and teens on the right path through tutoring, peer mentorship, and movie nights. But he says they can only do so much alone, and community organizations need to come together.
I would love to see more collaboration. I think there's a lot of good pieces, but we know Thanksgiving is not good with the turkey alone. You need the mac and cheese too. You need the yams too.
Combining forces to create change. Orko Manna, KCRA 3 News.
The Sacramento County Sheriff's Office says the two teens arrested in connection to the 4th of July homicide have been booked into juvenile hall.
I still feel as if a cannonball was fired, shooting through the back of my heart.
Through tears and a soul's cry for justice, Laura Jordan and Michael Middleton read victim impact statements during the sentencing of Adrian Gonzalez.
I don't have a solution to this situation, nor do I know what justice looks like in this scenario. I just know this cannot be allowed to happen again. Whatever it takes.
Tuesday, while onlookers gathered inside Santa Cruz Superior Court, Judge John Salazar handed down the maximum sentence. Adrian Gonzalez will spend another 4 years in juvenile detention following a guilty plea for the murder of Madison Middleton.
This is a crime that absolutely rocked our community.
Gonzalez admitted to the 2015 abduction, torture, rape, and murder of 8-year-old Maddie. But the recently passed Senate Bill 1391, which is now law, mandates 14 and 15-year-old juveniles cannot have their cases moved to adult criminal court.
When children 14 and 15-year-old are housed with adults, they're more likely to engage in more violent behavior in the future.
Opponents of the law and of Gonzalez remaining in the juvenile court system say the safety of the community is at stake.
Nothing short of a life sentence for aging. For what he did, and to keep society safe, to keep our kids safe. We do not need another child going through the horrendous torture.
Gonzalez addressed the court, saying his goal is to overcome his issues.
I hope that one day I may earn your forgiveness. Thank you.
Loved ones say the wound he inflicted will never heal. After 30 minutes, years of legal proceedings ended, but not the pain for the family and friends of Madison Middleton.
What's going on, you guys? Welcome back. Another episode of Green Lit Gang TV. Much love, much appreciation. Thank you guys so much for checking out the channel today. Appreciate you guys being here. Really quick, hope you guys had a wonderful 4th. Let's do the intros before we jump into the video. If you are new to the channel, welcome. Thank you for taking the time to watch the video. I genuinely appreciate it. I hope you do like it. And if you do, go back, check out some other content, check out some other videos, and let me know what you think. If you're a returning viewer, regular subscriber, member of this channel, however you want to put it, then you already know how much you guys mean to me. We have been having a wonderful 2025, and that's all because of you guys. We hit 20,000 subscribers last week. I was beyond. I was truly, truly humbled by it. So again, thank you guys. And lastly, if you like what you see, if you like what you hear, hit the like button, hit the comment button, engage in some conversation, and smash the subscribe button. Let's go. All right, guys. So today's story takes us to Ventura, California, Southern California, the 805. Absolutely crazy story that took place out of there. Now, the killing of Joshua Burciaga took place in 2012, but the culprits, the triggermen, they didn't actually get sentenced for another 12 years. It took quite a bit of time for the wheels of justice to turn, but it did finally take place. So we're going to be reading from Joshua Burciaga's, some of his obituary to kind of give you a background on who he was as an individual. And then we're going to be talking about the guilty plea and eventually the sentencing for these two individuals that committed this absolutely vicious and honestly senseless murder. No matter how you slice it, he's 14 years old. Yes, these two that pulled the trigger were only 17, but that's a huge difference, especially when you're talking about gang members and guys on the come up within their respective hoods. Joshua Burciaga, yes, it said he was tied to the Saticoy gang, which was rivals of the Cabrillo Village gang members. Again, this is all in Ventura, California. Still, he's 14. Joshy, as his family and loved ones called him, was born on July 12th, 1997 in Ventura, California. His father, Guadalupe Burciaga Jr., and his mother, Rachel Fernandez, were longtime residents of Saticoy, California. It was said that Joshy was a shy, quiet soul. He is remembered for being a class clown. He would cheer you up when you were sad. He loved hanging out with his friends and goofing off. He was our Traviseo, and I don't know what that means. If somebody could comment down below and let me know, that would be great. Though he was taken too soon, we take great comfort knowing that he is walking with our Creator in heaven. So again, this took place in June of 2012, and it took a long time for justice. And I want you to put yourself in the shoes of Joshua Burciaga's loved ones. If you're his mother, if you're his father, if you're his brother, sister, aunt, uncle, grandma, grandpa, whatever, a friend. Sometimes this is how long this stuff takes to come to fruition, to finally have, your quote, day in court. So finally, Gilbert Villanueva, and Justin Patino are brought to justice. And on May 3rd, 2024, Gilbert Villanueva, who is kind of they put him as kind of the head of this. So in the media, the articles that I read and that you can read, he's definitely the face of this crime. So on May 3rd, 2024, Gilbert Villanueva pled guilty to 1 count of first-degree murder and committing a crime on behalf of his gang, which was the Cabrillo Village gang. Again, he's a Southsider. 3 weeks later, May 31st, 2024, this is his sentencing, and I'm going to read from this article. A member of a Southern California street gang has been sentenced to 25 to life in prison for the 2012 murder of a 14-year-old boy. Gilbert Villanueva, who is now 19 years old. So again, he was 17 when he killed Josh Burciaga. He's now 29. Ventura was sentenced Friday, weeks after pleading guilty to 1 count of first-degree murder in the death of Joshua Angel Burciaga. He also admitted to committing the crime on behalf of his gang. On the night of June 27th, 2012, Villanueva and his co-defendant, Justin Patino, traveled to Saticoy Park in the unincorporated community of Saticoy near Ventura, wearing face coverings and, quote, looking for revenge after one of their fellow gang members was injured. And I have some good background on that. We'll get into that in just a minute. Villanueva and Patino were tagging their monikers on playground equipment when they saw Joshua walking with a group of girls. He's 14. Again, I want to put that in perspective. He's 14. He is unarmed. They quickly would approach him and begin firing with handguns. Quote, Villanueva and Patino chased Joshua and continued to fire at him until he fell on the ground, stood over him, and fired additional shots as Joshua begged for his life. A news release from the Ventura County District Attorney's Office states that Joshua was screaming out, quote, please don't do this. They then fled the scene and attempted to conceal and destroy any evidence that could tie them to the murder, officials said. Burciaga died at the park from multiple gunshot wounds to the arm, chest, back, foot, and finally the head. And those headshots, there were actually 2 of his headshots at close range. Villanueva was arrested the following month and charged with Burciaga's murder. Patino was arrested and charged also in that October of that year as he was being released from a juvenile facility on other unrelated charges. Now, why this case took so long, I do not know. I honestly don't know. I think it might be because they were only 17 at the time. But this is one of the, and again, this is one of the only cases I saw where it takes this long for the justice system to be completed. And it wasn't like there was a manhunt. It wasn't like these guys were on the run for 5, 6, 7 years. And then finally they got caught and took 3, 4 years. No, they were arrested within a month or 2 after the killings. The 2 murder weapons were found buried at a ranch in Santa Paula, wrapped in the same bandanas they used to cover their faces on the night of the shooting, officials said. Both Villanueva and Patino were only 17 at the time of the killing, but were tried as adults. Patino was arrested on October 3rd, 2012, as he was being released from a juvenile facility on unrelated charges. He was sentenced to 50 to life in prison in 2018. So it took another 6 years for Gilbert Villanueva to finally be sentenced. And again, put yourself in the shoes of the family member of Joshua Burciaga. I mean, that's a long time. If you're his grandparent, people might have passed on. People might not be around anymore. Even his parents. I mean, things change a lot in over a decade. Okay, so before I wrap this up, I'm always trying to bring you more information, bring you more layers to this. I was trying to get more info, on why did this happen? I mean, you read the bit about they're at the park looking for revenge. One of their fellow gang members from Cabrillo Village got injured. But I found this IG post from a guy, Fino Primo 805, and 805 represents, the area code there in Ventura and that surrounding area. Okay, and this is what he wrote. This murder was a retaliation of Satakoy gang and Cabrillo Village gang members having beef over a Cabrillo Village gang member getting hit in the head with a brick that literally caved his head and brain in. And luckily, he's still alive to this day. Mato was the guy's name, and I went to school with the shooter, the victim, and Marofu, who basically created all this beef between the gangs. Maro literally has a crater in his head. That's why Gilbert and the other guy killed Joshy. Super sad story, man. Little kids killing each other down the street from my house, literally. So hopefully that gives you a little more info to that. Anyway, guys, I had to bring you this guy's story. It was just really interesting, caught my eye, and felt like I wanted to tell it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Until next time, you already know what it is. Peace.